Good morning, and if you just are tuning into the show, here's what we have been talking about this morning. We have been talking about income planning and protecting the heart of your investment and how you can do that. We also talked about what Ray Dalia, one of the largest hedge fund managers in the world, has just written recently about the stock markets and that the train has left the building and that the performance of the markets are done now. So we're talking about where we can put our money, how we can protect ourselves for income for the future and guarantee that we don't ever outlive it. So we've been talking about that. So don't shut your radio off, because this is really important. If you're retired, if you are just getting ready to retire, you need to call us at 941-925-2121 so you can protect the heart of your investment. Again, the phone number is 941-925-2121, and you need to learn how not to outlive your assets, because what Ray Dalia was talking about in his article was that the markets were projected to only perform at 4%. And you do the math, the old rule of thumb, and it was based on the Treasury years ago when the Treasury was at 4%, that you could draw on your accounts at 4%. So if you're drawing anything over 4 to 5%, you are putting yourself at risk without any protection around you. Again, we talked about that 1 in 10,000 people, when you buy insurance on your home, the chances of that house burning down are huge. I mean, it's just minor, I should say. It's minuscule, the chance of the house burning down. But with your investments and what you have up against you between long-term care and market risks, you've got a 70% chance of losing the asset if you don't protect your assets right now. So that's what we're talking about today. And I believe, Stuart, you had something on your iPad talking about the difference between when you're working and in retirement versus when you have retired.
Well, you find so much on the internet, but you talk about it already right now in your workshops that you're having every week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. If anyone wants to participate in a very educated workshop.
Yep, we're at Ruth Chris this week.
Ruth Chris this week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 o'clock. Give us a call, 941-925-2121. Some of the topics we'll be talking about are going to be Social Security and how we should take those incomes, how you should structure your investments so that you can be properly allocated and have true diversification. But here's the one thing that I think, it's like elementary, learning this. You have the 3 phases to your life. You're going to accumulate assets through your working years. After you're done working, you're going to retire, and we're going to move into preservation. Now, there needs to be a restructure of the investments there, and here's how it comes down just to what you're thinking about. Because when you're in the wealth accumulation, the goals in this number 1, 2, and 3, number 1 is going to be growth. You want to grow the assets as much as you can. Number 2, you need steady income. So you're working, and you want to keep a good job, and you need that income coming in so that you can fund the assets. Number 3, you need the preservation of income. Now, here's where it switches, and we're going to turn it upside down. So number 1 now, when you are about to retire, and you need to start thinking about this when your time horizon for retirement is about 5 years, and start transitioning this, and it will make the transition much easier. So number 1 for retirement goals, preservation of principal. Number 2, steady income. And number 3 is going to be growth. So that's down there at the bottom. So we're not worried about growing our asset base unless you're in retirement and you lose 40-50%. Then all of a sudden you need to move down the income to the bottom, and you need to focus on growth, which again will affect your lifestyle. So it's restructuring. So today, I know, Margaret, you want to talk about the 3 buckets and how we are able to talk about true diversification.
Well, when you're talking about putting your money in different areas to do that, again, the number 1 priority as our company is to protect the heart of your investment, and that's protecting your income. So our biggest focus in the beginning when we're talking to clients is what's their biggest concern, which I talked about earlier. I had a couple in here talking about they were concerned about outliving their asset. And of course, what's if somebody has just told me that, well, the first thing I'm going to find out is how much money they need to live on, how much we're going to need in 5, 10, 15 years, and we're going to structure a strategy, an income strategy that they'll never outlive it. They'll pace inflation and never focus and worry about whether that check's going to show up in the mail. Again, that's priority, and focusing on the next part of your investment, we're going to, investing the difference. Again, we're a full service organization. We are a fiduciary, and we have spectacular money management, but we are not going to manage somebody's assets that cannot afford to have some, or that we have not, figured out whether we have put the heart of their investment, which drives their income, which drives their income. We're not going to invest that and take any risk at all.
Right. Well,
for that, to do that.
Well, and it's important. So what you're doing is you're taking and you are splitting off the risk money to the safe money.
Right.
And you have the buckets here. Now let's talk about the 3 buckets of income, Mom. We have tax now, tax later, and tax never. So your tax now are going to be like banks, mutual funds, CDs, stocks. Tax later, 401ks, IRAs, annuities, qualified plans. How about tax never? Roth IRAs or life insurance, and using life insurance as an investment. Now, which one would you think people would want more of?
What would
tax
they want?
never, right?
Yeah,
tax-free
absolutely.
Money, tax-free dollars.
Absolutely.
But what do you find people who have the least amount of tax-free? Is it tax-free?
No, it's not.
No, the least amount of when clients come in, they normally have tax now and tax later.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
IRAs, 401ks, and then maybe some money in the market.
Well, it's interesting that you talk about that. We don't expect to get every piece of business that walks in our doors, and it really surprises me when I talk to potential clients and we show them how we can literally put 70% more back to their beneficiaries, and also to get tax-free income for the rest of their life. And then their advisor, and there's an institution here in town, I just recently went through this, actually advised the client to not do it. And that's the kind of advice that we see here in town that really frustrates me, is these financial advisors don't want to give up the asset because it's their recurring income coming in every quarter to protect their client. And they convince them not to get this money out of harm's way, and it was to their benefit to leave it at that wirehouse, and they actually convinced them not to do it. And I can guarantee you, in a year, I'm going to call them back, and they're going to wish they had done that strategy to protect their family. And we're talking tax-free income, Stuart. Tax-free, zero risk.
Well, it depends on which side
Guaranteed
of the tracks you come from.
4%. Guaranteed 4% tax-free.
Sometimes
anybody out there that doesn't want a 4% tax-free guaranteed income and tells me that must be smoking something here at the office, I'd love for you to call in and tell me that's a bad investment. I probably shouldn't have said that, should I, Stuart? Oh, boy, that's what's so fun.
You're fine. But, it depends on which side of the tracks you come from and how you've been taught. And this person is a captive agent, and they are only able to sell what their
firm tells them they can do.
The broker dealer will allow them to sell. And the problem with that is that the client already has the relationship, and sometimes that relationship will fog the actual.
Here's what and sorry for interrupting you, because that really gets me hot under the collar. You ask your broker if he's going to give you back that money that you lost in the stock market, and if he jeopardizes your income, ask him if he's going to replace that income for you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, is he going to write you a check?
No, right. So you can tell that just makes me hot. Anyway, stay tuned. We're going to cool off here and be right back. So call us at 941-925-2121. Again, the phone number is 941-925-2121. Find out how you can protect yourself from that type of bad advice. And we'll be right back.
Somebody told me you had a boyfriend. He looked like a girlfriend that I had in February of last year. It's not confidential.
Hi, my name's Phillip Dickson. I'm an advisor here at CD Advisory Group, and I want to ask you something. If you have an IRA, a 401k, a 403b plan, or any other qualified plan, and you're at all worried about the taxes you'll have to pay on those accounts in the near future, then you need to hear this. We want to show you how you can reduce taxes on your IRA and your 401k by up to 40 to 60%. That's right, 40 to 60%. This isn't a gimmick. We've already helped thousands like yourself remove Uncle Sam as your silent partner. You still don't believe me? Just call to learn how we can create an exit strategy for one of your largest assets and reduce taxes without converting to a Roth. Don't you want to keep more of what you've worked so hard for? So call 941-925-2121. Again, don't hesitate. Start saving on taxes today. Call 941-925-2121. Thanks.